Hey guys, more inconvenient truths. Some inconvenient truths that go to the only thing it can be. Gypsy Rose Blanchard never gave birth. She didn't have a baby. That's not her kid. Okay? That is her niece and a combination of AI photos and who else knows what they're doing. All right? So inconvenient truths though I want to talk about, okay? That goes to she didn't have a baby. And it's a bunch of little pieces of circumstantial evidence that point to nothing but that, man. Especially when you add it all up. All of these things can't be true. And you guys, you can't, well, maybe this happened. Well, maybe that extreme of thing happened. Well, maybe there are hundreds of odds that it could be. That's what all these things you guys are trying to say are, man. The ones that I'm saying that are disagreeing with me. Well, she still has a baby. That doesn't mean that, you know? Oh, no, that doesn't mean that. But some of the things I want to talk about was sort of go in the category of, like, I said a couple ones back where, when they did the ultrasound, that fake ultrasound appointment, talked about that, where they had someone in the room with their phone videoing the actual screen of the ultrasound with the baby, which they don't do that. That is an ethical deal. That's probably, they do not do that because if there's something wrong with that baby that came on the screen or some crazy anomaly, they don't allow people to do that. No one had gloves on. It was weird. That was, and then that video in there, that was a video of another woman's baby, right? And they were faking this out for proof of baby, guys. That's all that was, to try to show us, see, well, for when people like me say she didn't have a baby, which she didn't, they go back on this. These are their talking points. They set this up, right? There's a bunch of them. I'll go over them. That, well, they fall back on, and they did it right away. As soon as I start, that's what they came out. Sheena and all of them. Well, what about you saw the ultrasound right on television? They right on. I mean, right on the video. You saw the ultrasound. They did it. Well, then but it came up with a penis on it. All right. So how do we get around that? That's heavy duty, because why are you faking it then? We know that the supposed baby of hers is supposed to have a girl, right? It's supposed to be a girl. Okay. It goes with that. It also goes with Ken saying, yes, she's on that podcast on Sir Morbid. Oh, yeah, the baby's growing, eating, developing, and we're upping it a bottle a week. You guys, that's not a thing, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't make sense. They're not caring for an infant. That is a crazy piece of evidence if you look at it, man. It also goes with when they said her eyes are just now opening at 5 months. And she's just now developing a social smile. They're reading stuffer. He's misremembering shit he learned in a fucking class somewhere or something. All right? These pieces of evidence, man, are telling you. This is the proof. This is the evidence. You cannot prove a negative. I can't show you something or a document or a specific thing that says she did not have a baby. But when all these things point to it, you guys, it doesn't make sense. Just the fact that there's no paternity test on file for anyone. It has to be for her, for sure. We know that. None. Nada. Doesn't work that way. You can't just go get the paternity and then bring it and then come say, and it would still be documented some kind of way. It's not on there, okay? It goes with all those kind of things. I want to talk about this. This is important, guys. Why would she lie about this, and how would she mix this up? Remember when Gypsy said, oh, it was nothing. The birth was no problem. Should be a slap in the face to all you women that have really went through pain and tough labors and all this shit. Should be a slap in the face to you that lying bitch never had a baby, and she's just discounting like it's no big deal. I don't know what the big deal is. The baby just popped right out, no problem. And then, soon after the baby comes, she writes this fake-ass supposed baby comes, she writes this fake-ass post talking about after hours and hours and pushing and all this, it's just the most wonderful thing, the love of looking the baby, seeing in the eyes. That's important discrepancy that she did that. Did you just pop and spit the baby out, or did you go through hours and... Come on, you guys. You cannot overlook these things. You cannot overlook the discrepancy that Bree said on live, that many people heard it, that she had a C-section. And indeed, I think she said something along the lines of, Gypsy doesn't have to show you her C-section scar. According to Gypsy, she just popped it out and it was vaginal. Which is it? I find it hard it could be with C-sectional because according to them, they had popped the baby out and like the next day they left at like 3 a.m? That's another thing. He says they just left on out of there at 3 a.m. But if you watch the fake Lifetime show where they're trying to have you think that they left the hospital, when in actuality what they did is they had cameramen there that went to that hospital they wanted you to believe she was at, and they just take footage of that and then they edit it in. You know how they do. Show the hospital and and they do this and then it cuts away and then you'll see them getting into the car or whatever. Well, the sun was out. That's not 3:30 in the morning, okay? Now, you want to tell me that she just popped this baby out, went right home when supposedly it was born, I think it was originally due in February, they said, but then it was to January 22nd, that was born at like 36 weeks gestation. And then they said, didn't they say, correct me if I'm wrong with the weight, I think 6 pounds, some ounces, like close to 6.5 pounds. I think that's what they said. Or more than 6.5 pounds. Yeah, it's possible. But guys, I'm tired of it can be because it's possible. Or all you anecdote people that come in with these anecdotes. She didn't even look pregnant at the whole time. She's got the microdeletion and all this shit, guys. I'm not going to buy every little thing. Well, that could have happened. Well, that's how it went down. Well, they did it that way for her. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does mean something. It means something when she's telling you that 1 minute that she just spit the baby out. It was no problem. I was not even in any pain. I don't know what the big deal is. To writing a post like that. She can't even get her shit straight. Okay? The C-section, that's crazy, man. All right? What else is fucked up and crazy is, you guys, I want you to think about this. Use logic and reason and the good sense that God and Granny gave to you. All right? Listen to me, please. When Gypsy was supposedly pregnant, the only thing we ever got social media on, the only thing during her pregnancy was things to show us that there was proof of pregnancy. She didn't just do normal. We didn't see her on her way to the OBGYN clinics or on her way to go shopping and picking this up or things that were happening to her during her pregnancy. Oh my God, look what happened today. No, it was none of that ever, guys. It was never any of that. And if it was really pregnant, we would have got all this. We would have got all this stuff, man. We would have got her, no. Well, all we got was instances of proof of pregnancy so they can fall back on their talking points, like Sheena does immediately. And I knew she would. And I even baited her on some stuff. And then she comes out with it. Well, what about all we saw, guys, was, check it out now. This is what we got when she was pregnant. Everything's proof of baby. That fake ass sonogram appointment where they had the thing with the film of another woman's with a penis on it, that they paid $45,000 to that clinic to shut it down for that day. And they had to pay the clinic had to pay all the employees and all that shit too. And they filmed that. Proof of baby, fake. They felt the need to video and show us on social media Ken getting swabbed and doing the other thing for the DNA test with the little board up in there. That was fake. They paid them something. I don't know how much they got paid though. That's fake, and that was just for proof of baby, supposedly. We've got Gypsy at home supposedly doing the glucose, going to do the glucose test today with this stuff. That's bullshit. That's fake for proof of baby. That's all they were doing this stuff for, guys. Never saw her at the doctor's office. Never saw her doing with anything else. We never heard of anything happening. We didn't. No, you guys. The gender reveal, the fake gender reveal, proof of baby. We had to hear about see the fake baby shower with the attorney there. That's a known child trafficker. That's a family law attorney in Lafourche Parish that positions herself with kids that are with families that are having problems. Of course, that's how they weasel in. And she's up against DCF because they're in trouble, and she switches it around and gets them all fucked up to where the kids are removed from them. And she can get them to the wealthy elite families like I've talked about in the last videos. And she gets paid handsomely for it. Yeah, that's how these attorneys position themselves. Go check her out. Jeray Javon Giroux. That was her family law attorney, Gypsies. And now she's down there and she was at her baby shower. How about that? And she traffics children into the ring that they get to the wealthy elites. She basically sells children that have to go through this abuse and remove from their family, as bad as it is, to move to these family now to be sexually abused for these rituals and shit. And some of them, these people are straight up pedophiles too. That they're not just doing the acts during ritual. They have a sexual attraction to children too on top of it. And they do it because they want to do it. To get off with children. That's how disgusting this shit is, man. And she knows that's what she's doing. And she's taking all this money so her children can live a great life, a privilege off the backs of these children. This is what we're dealing with. And that's who was at the fake baby shower. And you can look up Jeray. You can look up people on here in the comments, ladies, because there's a few of you that know about Jeray and have spoke out against her and everything else. In the comments, please. Let the rest of them know what I'm talking about, okay? This is one big fucking mess. They're all they're all in it, man. They're all in it one way or another, okay? So these are, she only did things to prove a baby. Don't you understand that? That's why they did that. That was their motive. We're going to show them on TV. We're taking this fucking DNA test. We're going to show them on video that we're gonna that we had this baby shower and this gender reveal and I did the glucose test. We're gonna show them all that so they can't ever say, but it was all fake, you guys. I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't make this up. I care what God thinks about me. All right, I would never do this to someone, man. I wouldn't just pick on someone like this, man. And I'm not making it up, man. And all this shit I'm telling you is true and pans out. And it can't be that she had a baby. Listen to me. Her divorce is finalized on December 9th. The motherfucker's trying to say she had a baby on December 28th. That is an impossibility. There's not a family law judge in this fucking country that would not continue that. You have to wait till the baby's born and establish paternity. You test all of them. You cannot say that Ken went and got a fucking invasive one, and that's what they got an invasive with Ken, and that's what the results were. They brought that to court, and so the judge said, okay, we just won't talk about it. We won't worry about it. That is not what they do. They always continue it till after the baby is born. There's no reason not to. There's never, ever, ever, ever a rush in a divorce. That is not a thing. There is not a mechanism to ask to speed up a divorce. In fact, they don't have that. In the criminal case, in criminal law, they do. There's a couple of mechanisms. Number one, if you don't waive your right to a speedy trial, they have to theoretically they got to take you to trial with 180 days. Okay. Now most people that are able to be out on bond, they don't give a fuck about it. But the point is if you're someone being held, and your freedom's taken away, we don't. Well, then the state needs to come with the shit or get off the pot. You got 180 days. Okay, but they don't have any kind of mechanism because no one's locked up and no one's life's on the line, no one's freedom's on the line. There is no mechanism. You can't just go into court and say, I want my divorce and I want it now. Especially she's due in a couple weeks. It doesn't make sense. She told the judge in open court that she wasn't pregnant. You're not going to tell me she had it earlier than that, you guys. She never had a baby, and these are all a bunch of inconvenient truths. This is absolutely ridiculous that anyone still believes that this dumb bitch really has a baby. And I'll see you in the next video.